Okay, boys, this is spicy. This is spicy news. Now, I'm going to talk about the artifact first, and then we're going to get into this weekly update because there is some beautiful content here. I am probably the most excited for the future of Destiny than I have been in a long time. So let's talk about the artifact really quickly. So I need to react to this right this second. Luke Smith just tweeted out, "We will be disabling the artifact for power-enabled PvP, Iron Banner, and Trials until we can implement a power cap feature. This cap will allow us to weave artifact and power pursuits together while preventing unbound power growth in PvP. Somewhere down the road, but before we implement the cap, we're going to talk about the effects of power that it has on combat in PvP, such as a dive deep into the numbers. But all that's going to take more than Twitter. Boys, they are disabling the artifact in Trials. This is one of the most contested, most hated things. People were really worried about it. People were really, really worried about it. Also, Luke Smith doesn't follow me anymore. He used to. What happened? Okay, that's beside the point. Boys, if they disable the artifact, that also means that they'd be disabling the greasy mods that are on it. Potentially overpowered, annoying things being on it. And they won't be in Trials anymore. Now, if they're also getting rid of the power from that artifact, you're not going to have situations where someone can sit at home grinding bounties all day and destroy you come the weekend. So if you're a more casual player, you are benefiting from this tremendously. You're not going to run into raid bosses that are farming lost sectors and getting crazy amounts of experience and power levels. This is amazing for the community. This is probably one of the biggest things that is going to make Trials a success, because I honestly think that if they didn't do this, Trials would have come out half-baked. It would have fallen off much faster than Bungie would ever expect. The power level and the strength that it can grant is far too much when it can scale indefinitely. Now, I think everyone should play the game. Everyone should be able to, raid and get those power levels up and have a bit of an advantage. But the issue is the massive amount of advantage you could get for seemingly easy content. You didn't have to raid to get the best gear. You didn't have to do any crazy nightfalls on the hardest difficulty to get the highest power. You had to do some of the easiest content possible, but you needed more time than the average person. If you work, if you're in school, if you have a family, you can't compete with someone like me that has all day, it's my job to play, or someone who just plays this game colossal amounts of time. You can't compete in a PvP game mode that, is one of the fan favorites. I honestly think that if a bunch of players were coming back to the game, they would have left right away. And I feel like with Trials, I would say that the large group of people that have quit are PvP players, right? Trials coming back is trying to bring back these PvP players. So they're already going to be lower on power. But then you throw the artifact in, and it's going to be a slogfest for them. And then they're going to leave again. And so I think that they needed to make this change to have the highest surge in population. I think a lot of people are going to come back. They're going to realize a lot of the PvE activities are awesome as well. And I am just ecstatic that this is happening. They are listening to a lot of the complaints that were coming out. There was Reddit posts. There's a ton of different stuff. And so the fact that they're realizing that, oh God, maybe people are going to hate this, and they're responding to it, kudos. I'm really happy about it. I'm very excited. I think this is big for the game. Now, let's talk about some of the Bungie weekly update stuff, some of the nitty-gritty details, because this stuff is huge as well. Warlock melee changes. Warlocks have long been at a disadvantage in melee fights, as it takes slightly longer than Titans and Hunters to recover after making a melee attack. So next season, we're extending the Warlock's basic range by 1 meter. They're going to have a slower melee, but they're actually going to have a range advantage, which is huge. There was no reason to ever melee on a Warlock because you were going to lose it. So now you've got this range advantage that can make or break a fight. Huge. Thank you. I'll punch slower if I can have that range. That's what Destiny 1 used to have, right? And Titans destroyed us in melee battles. Hunters destroyed us in melee battles. I shouldn't say us. I play Titan a lot of the time, but this is awesome for Warlocks. Great change. Titan Barricades. Now this one is interesting. Titan Barricades are incredibly powerful in trials because you can use it in safety to Now, Titan Barricades, this is actually a big change too. A Titan Barricade is really good in trials because you can pop it and go get a revive. We're creating counters to the barricade while also raising its health from 500 to 600. So what this means is they're going to raise the base HP on it, but there's going to be some very effective things. So look at this. The following weapons now do 30% extra damage. Snipers, grenade launchers, linear fusions, machine guns, trace rifles, and anti-barrier weapons, which is pretty cool. Now, the following weapons do 60% extra damage, shotguns and fusions. That's right, you're going to be able to essentially crit with these things. So if there's a team trying to revive behind the shield, you can push in with a shotty and just yeet, maybe with an auto-firing one, like a fast-firing one, or you can dome it from a distance with a fusion rifle and rip down that shield. Awesome. Now look at this, boys. This is spicy content. One-shot abilities. With the introduction of the weighted knife in Season of Dawn, each class now has a neutral game ability that can kill opponents in one hit. But they need to make some changes to this because some of them are a little stronger than others. We're taking a pass at all of the one-shot abilities to tune their risk versus reward factor. Perfect. If I'm landing my hand cannon shots on you and you can turn around and one-shot me just like that, that's annoying. So look at these changes. For the Titan shoulder charge, we are reducing the auto-targeting angle by 50%. That means if you yeet towards someone and flick your mouse or flick your thing, you're actually going to have to aim at them a lot more. This might sound like a lot, but Titans could do almost a 90-degree instant turn to lunge towards you. So they're going to make it much harder to do. We're also adjusting the lunge distance to 5.5 meters down from 6 meters. Untargeted lunges were previously 4.5. So from what I can tell here is you're actually going to extend the range when you're not targeting, and they're going to reduce the range when you are targeting. So this is actually a bit of a mobility buff, if I'm reading that correct, for Titans who are shoulder charging around the map, but they're nerfing it a little bit, locking onto targets. For the Hunter's Knife, we're reducing its tracking significantly and creating new tracking tech that will make the knife more faithful to its initial thrown trajectory. That means that it's not going to fly through the air and aim assist and target you in the head and give you a free kill. I made a montage with this in literally 2 games, spamming kills, easy kills. I almost refuse to use it because I think it's busted. But they're nerfing it. You're actually going to have to aim. You're going to get rewarded for that aim. Look at this one. Holy cow, they're nerfing Supernova. As for Supernova, handheld Supernova's strength lies in its ability to pair it with the Controverse Hold, and you can get tanky, right? You can get your cooldown back. You've got this crazy range, one-hit abilities. It's super strong. So here are the changes. Increasing activation time by 0.6 seconds. That's not a crazy amount, but in panic situations, you'll be able to hopefully kill that person, and they won't be able to just yeet it and get it out in the middle of a duel. Right now, you can push someone with a hand cannon, and they can just charge it up and kill you. That's going to help. Reduce the hold time by 3.5 seconds to 2.5, so you can't hold this for 900 years. From tell here, you actually have to hold it, use it, and you can't just sit around a corner waiting. You need to plan this. Huge. Reduce the range by 20%. Oh my god, that is a big nerf overall, but I think that's pretty sweet. But listen to this. They tightened the horizontal spread by 25%. So, in some cases, this might lead to more consistency. It's a little bit tighter. If there's targets right in front of you and you land your shot, you're going to hit them, you're going to kill them, they're probably going to die. But if you're on the outskirts of this, you might not get tagged and one hit the way you used to. So, could be a consistency thing, but also a bullshit mitigator if you're on the outside. Bolt Explosion now does self-damage, so if you suicide into someone with it, you're going to take damage and probably die. Or if you use it behind cover and smash the cover, you're going to damage yourself and you might end up dying if you are weakened. Reduced the bolt explosion radius from 3 meters to 2.5. Another nerf. Range nerf and the radius nerf. That is a lot. In our playtesting, we found that the product of these changes is an ability that is still incredibly strong. Remember, this thing was busted. It was broken. It was overpowered. But they're still saying, even with these changes, it's still a good ability, right? After all, this thing can vaporize multiple PvP opponents instantly. There's a bit of a silver lining here. The tightening of the bolts leads to more concentrated damage at a range, which means you might be able to map someone if you're right on target, but you can't do this crazy AoE where you're nuking 3 or 4 people and you're tagging all these people. This sounds awesome. You can use it like a shotgun. You can defend yourself if you're sniping. It's still going to be good, but it's not going to be this oppressive, annoying thing. Okay, so really quickly, they said that a lot of the Arc classes are going to get a tune-up, and some of the Void classes are going to get a tune-up as well. Arc classes have been overperforming in many situations, and a lot of the Void ones have been underperforming, especially stuff like Void Walker Bottom. It is terrible. So they're going to be tuning those, but they're not posting any of that right now. We'll see the patch notes in March when they launch. But Hunter Trip Mines are going to be sticky again, so that is obviously really cool. Excited to see that. But they wanted to end on a note about, transparency and about abilities. They don't want to nerf our favorite stuff, but at the same time, they can't leave these crazy powerful things that are outliers in the game. And if they always buff stuff up to that level, then you have this crazy sandbox where everything one-hits you and you get power creep. So it's an interesting thing they want to talk about here because, some people don't really get it. People always say, buff up the weak stuff, but that doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to nerf things that are overly strong, overpowered, and I completely agree there. This has me hyped up tremendously. Really good information here. I'm really excited. I think this is the most excited I've been in a long time for Bungie. Patch notes for Destiny as a whole. Trials is going to be lit, and I'm shocked. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.